Please say the prayer. हमें अपने मन को हमेशा संतुलित रखना है। इसी में हमारा आत्म विकास समाया हुआ है। वही में सर्वम आत्मनि में त्वम स्मारे स्मारे चित्तम शामे शामे स्मराणि सोहम मो 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 शांतं चिन्मयम् मामो त्वतस्थं केवलं स्मराणि शुद्धं मामो। Okay. Now, last time we talked about Nirodha Parinama. We saw what is the difference between Sabija Samadhi and Nirbija Samadhi, and how Sampragnata and Sampragnata Samadhi have been talked about. In Sampragnata, the Sabija is there. In Asampragnata, Nirbija is there. And the methodology and the technology which is used, the techniques which are used, that also we discussed. And we saw that. Now, before proceeding further with today's sutra, again, I would like to recall a little and go into the background of whatever we have discussed so far. You see, one fact which we have to understand, that everything in this world, including our minds, is made up of three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. And what is the characteristics of gunas? Changefulness. So when we look at the world and we look at our own selves, be it any object in the world, people around us, or for that matter, our own body, our own mind, constantly changes are taking place. Our bodies are changing every moment. Our minds are changing every moment. Things around us are changing every moment. People around us are changing every moment. So this change is the only constant in this world. And in the background of this change, we have to understand that what happens when we are undertaking yoga practice. Earlier we had discussed why we will start practicing yoga, why would we learn yoga, what is our expectation, what are we wanting to get from our yoga practices, why we are learning, why we are discussing, why study sutras. So these were the various questions, and these will come in the mind naturally when we are joining yoga. Then sometimes, even in the best of the students, the doubts come in their mind. I have been practicing yoga for so many years. What has happened? What have I gained? So this kind of doubts will definitely come into the sincere student. and then he has to be reassured that whatever he is doing, it is fruitful, in some way it is benefiting. We would not like to pursue something which is not beneficial. We would not like to go waste time in things which are not helpful. So this is a very clear motivation that we are seeking change and we are expecting that some good change will come in us. And what that good change will be? Good change would be that we will become better than before. That is for sure. If that was not so, then pursuit is not correct or pursuit is fruitless. So what is that better change we are looking? We different persons may have different reasons for undertaking the path of yoga, because it has been already established that yoga can help us at various levels of our personality in various activities which we are doing in life. You know, all simple activities like eating, working, communicating, traveling, or whatever we are doing, all those activities, in that yoga has got a marked effect. So yoga is helping in bringing about a kind of desirable change, a kind of beneficial change in our personality, in our mind, in our thinking process. And in general way, we have already discussed a lot of this. In general way, what we can understand, that as we practice yoga, we have to ask ourselves, like Dr. Jaydev always would say, if those who have done 7 months from the Yoga Institute, they will know that the seventh month is always kept for evaluation. So that is known as evaluation month. So why it is called evaluation month? Because whatever we have learned during 6 months of training, in what way it has benefited and what is the further future course of action for us. So now a sincere yoga student is always required and it is expected from him that he will keep on evaluating his earlier state and the present state, how the progress is taking place, whether the progress is satisfactory and whether the development is properly going on, or he needs to intensify his efforts, he needs to put more intensity in his endeavor. So these are the various things which one has to maintain awareness. So in what way we can judge that changes have taken place? How do we know that the changes have taken place? And perhaps not everybody may be looking for the spiritual realization. Not everybody might be looking for Atma Sakshatkar. Not everybody might be looking for the Asampranyat Samadhi. But initially, whatever positive changes are taking place, they go on clarifying the goal, and later on, perhaps we did not started with that aim. But later on, as we see that progress is going on, we may change our goal. And earlier we may have a lower goal, earlier we may have a little mundane kind of goal or materialistic kind of goal or grosser kind of goal. But later on, as we are progressing, as our vision is becoming clearer and clearer, as we are realizing how yoga is useful and what all it can provide us, then perhaps we will change our goal and we will start looking for some better things, better states of mind. So, in one way of judging our progress is how we are physically, in terms of health, in terms of capacities, in terms of strength. So, how our bodies are functioning. So, definitely there is a progress at that level, because we find that as soon as we start practicing yoga, the health improves and our capacity to work, our capacity to relax, our capacity to maintain good health, it increases. So this is one aspect. At mental level, we find that we are definitely able to deal with our negative emotions, our fears, our anger, our dejection, our guilt, our resentment, all those negative factors, negative emotions, which are really a big bother for an ordinary individual who doesn't know how to deal with them. They become victim of these emotions and they do things which they cannot even imagine when they are in their good senses. They will not think that they will do it, but under the influence of emotion, they do it. But when a person is practicing yoga, he finds that he is able to deal with his emotions. Another area which improves is interpersonal relationship. How we are dealing with others, how we are dealing with family, how we are dealing with our friends, how we are dealing with the people, colleagues in the workplace. So there will be a marked improvement in all these areas. That is 100% result of incorporating yoga in life, practicing yoga. So these are some examples where we can find that the improvements, or even our thinking capacity, our problem solving capacity, our ability to deal with life situations, our ability to deal with everyday problems which we are facing in our day-to-day living. Lots of challenges come. So are we able to deal with those challenges effectively? So all these are the areas where definitely we can find how yoga is helping us. Now these are, very general kind of benefits which everybody talks about. Any person who is practicing yoga, if you ask them how yoga has benefited, one of these areas he will mention that these are the areas in which yoga has helped me. But now in these sutras of chapter 3, Vibhuti Path, we are going beyond these kind of benefits, and now we are looking at some kind of deeper changes which are taking place in the mind. Capacities are increasing, capacity to understand is increasing, capacity for good concentration is increasing, but it is a kind of big leap one is taking, or it's a big step one is taking in the direction of improvement. So from that perspective, when we look at it, we saw in the previous sutra, Vitthana Nirodha Sanskaryo Rabi Pradurbhavo Nirodha Kshan Chittanvayo Nirodha Parinama. Nirodha Parinama was talked about. So again, we are talking about changes. So continuous practice of yoga brings about changes in Chitta. And changes are also, as we saw there in the external world, not a moment passes when something is not changing. And you will be surprised if I make a statement. It will be shocking kind of statement that the moment we are living just now, see, understand it. The moment we are living just now, at this moment, may not be repeated again till the eternity. It will never come back because things will go on every moment. Now I am talking, next moment things have changed. And whatever has changed, it is not going to be repeated again because there are millions of variables involved at the universal level, and they are not going to come back into the same position again. Constant change is taking place. So those kind of changes are also there, and how human mind perceives those changes, that will come subsequently. But right now we are talking about the changes which take place in our minds, in our chitta. Chitta is mind. So chitta is changing. Now, when we see improvement in our behavior, when we see improvement in our concentration level, when we see improvement in our ability to solve our problems, definitely the change has taken place in the chitta. So what kind of change has taken place? Now, in a general way, when we look at it, our minds normally are running here and there. Their minds are never stable. Lots of thoughts come. We don't want to think certain thoughts, still we are thinking them. We know that we should not think them, but we are thinking them. So why it is so? Because our mind is not helping us to control them. So what is happening? Our mind is working against our own selves. Our thoughts are working against our own selves. So this is a general state of affairs. So people, when they behave, when they get angry, or they do something very drastic under the influence of strong emotions of anger, and you talk to them when they are relatively peaceful, you ask them, why did you get angry? Why did you do this? They say, I don't know. I did not want to do it. It was not my intention to do it. But then somehow I just my anger took place, and anger took charge of my mind, and I said things which I should not have said. I did things which I should not have done. So now here what is happening? Who is the enemy? It is not the external circumstances. It is our own mind which is our enemy. So our mind, our thoughts are working against us. Now all that changes with the help of yoga. One develops a better understanding of emotions. One get good control over the emotions. The anger reduces. One of the most common sharing done by all the practitioners of yoga, all those years, in past so many years, I've been hearing what they share is that when you ask them how yoga has benefited you, they say, I can manage my emotions better. I'm less angry. I have less complaints. So this is one of the most common sharing done by all the sadhakas. Now that means the change has taken place. Now the mind which was, or the chitta which was enemy, now it is, we are trying to make it a friend with the help of yoga practices. In this Indian thinking, lots of beautiful sayings are there. Some saints have also said some statements are there, like mana. Chitta can be translated as mana, although mana is a very poor translation of chitta. But even if we translate chitta as mana, so mana is the karan for bandha and moksha. It is our mind which binds us. So it is our mind which weakens us. It is our mind which is creating problems for us. It is our mind which is creating difficulties for us. And the same mind, if it is trained properly, if it is controlled properly, it turns into a bandhu. It becomes a brother who helps. It becomes a friend who helps. So now yoga is a process of turning this enemy into a friend. अपने मन को, अपने चित्त को दुश्मन में से दोस्त बनाना. So turning this mind which is acting like an enemy to a friend, that is what is yoga all about. So we are changing our mind, and this change is taking place in the chitta in three ways. In yoga, these three parinamas, change means parinam. Whenever any flux is going on, whenever any change is going on, that is known as parinam. So in yoga, three parinamas have been talked about. Three kinds of changes take place in chitta. One we have already discussed in the previous sutra, Nirodha Parinama, where the chitta gets arrested. But that was a very, very advanced stage. And I told you that surprisingly, last time I told you surprisingly, Patanjali has got a very peculiar way of stating things, putting things. So all the difficult things he will state in the beginning. And then he will go on simplifying it. Like in chapter 1, Patanjali says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga means control of all modifications of mind. Now, a person who's starting yoga, he doesn't know what is chitta, what is modification, what is vritti. But Patanjali begins with that. And then he goes on explaining that there are 5 kinds of vrittis. Some of them are klishta, some of them are aklishta, some of them are beneficial, and some of them are harmful. So harmful one are known as klishta vrittis because they are coming from the kleshas. And helpful mental processes, helpful thought processes are aklishta because they are helping us. So now yoga is saying what is yoga? Changing the negative states, negative vrittis to positive states. But after having attained the positive states, now imagine, now we have done yoga for a very long time and we have succeeded a lot. Now our minds are very calm, our minds are very quiet, nothing disturbs us. Then what? Then also, according to yoga, mind can play tricks. Mind is still a potential enemy. So one has to be always cautious. And one should not stop at that level. Replacing negativity with positivity is one step. But positive and negative, still they are part of the mind. And yoga is interested in going little further than that. So it says stop the mind, stop the vrittis. Why stop the vritti? So that you can reach the highest state of consciousness. So that parinama is known as Nirodha Parinama. In Nirodha Parinama, all the chitta vrittis stop. And before that, some other changes are there. Now these two other changes are known as Ekagrata Parinama and Samadhi Parinama. So now today's sutra is talking about Samadhi Parinama. What happens when the Samadhi occurs? So this sutra reads, Sarvartha Tekagratayo Shayodayo Chittasya Samadhi Parinama. What does it mean? सर्वार्थता का, सर्वार्थता और एकाग्रता का यथाक्रम लय और उदय ही चित्त का समाधि परिणाम है. Read in English, it means reduction or diminution of the tendency towards attention to all and sundry and development of one-pointedness is called Samadhi Parinama or mutation of concentrative mind. Now this appears to be little, in the equation form, chemical equation form. We need to simplify it. We need to understand it, what they are trying to say. So what this sutra is trying to take, in normal conditions, our chitta has got tendency to run here and there. It is interested in all objects. And even when it is not interested in all objects, because of the sanskaras, it will run here and there. So for example, as it is, mind is very, volatile, mind is all the time changing, mind is chanchal. So Indian thinking mind has been compared to a monkey. So monkey is as it is, restless. So our minds are also restless. And then at one place, Swami Vivekananda said that a person has got very strong kleshas. Now that mind of that person can be considered or compared to a monkey who has been intoxicated. And after getting intoxicated, that monkey has been bitten by a scorpion. So what will be the state of that monkey? What he will be doing? So some minds are like that. Minds are always running here and there. And with good fortune, we decided, no, I'll not allow my mind to run here and there. I'll focus my mind. So we start focusing. Now, we are putting full effort. Willpower का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, संकल्प शक्ति का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं. विल पावर से हम अपने माइंड को एक जगह पे एकाग्र कर रहे हैं. तो एकाग्र करते करते अचानक क्या होता है, पीछे बैकग्राउंड में कोई फिल्मी गाना बज रहा है. वी लव दैट सॉन्ग. एकाग्रता भंग हो गई. किचन में से कुछ स्मेल आ रहा है, फ्रेग्रेंस आ रहा है. You get some fragrance from kitchen. You are doing your meditation, you are doing your asanas, and suddenly some fragrance you feel, and immediately the mind runs into that. So many a times, even if we have got the good intention of focusing our minds and disciplining our mind, the past impressions, the past sanskaras are not allowing us to do that. So they will again draw the mind out, and mind will again get distracted into various kinds of things. Now this state of mind is known as sarvarthata. इसी को सूत्र में जो कहा है सर्वार्थत एकाग्रतयो क्षयोदयो, इसको कहा गया है सर्वार्थता. तो माइंड में हमेशा सर्वार्थता. माइंड वांट्स टू नो एवरीथिंग. माइंड इज लाइक माइंड इज आल्सो कंपेयर टू अ बेगर इन इंडियन थिंग. अपनी भारतीय परंपरा में मन को भिखारी बोला है. क्यों भिखारी बोला? व्हाट इज द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ अ बेगर? बेगर, वेदर ही नीड्स और नॉट, ही विल गो ऑन कलेक्टिंग. उसको कुछ भी देंगे तो वो ले लेगा. Anything you offer to a beggar, he will accept it. That is the characteristics, and that is the characteristics of mind. Mind is interested in gathering. यूज है कि नहीं है उसका बाद में विचार करेंगे, उतना विवेक माइंड में नहीं रहता है. तो माइंड गोज ऑन गैदरिंग अननेसेसरी इंफॉर्मेशन, अननेसेसरी थिंग्स, एंड दिस वे माइंड इज ऑल द टाइम सर्वार्थता, सभी चीजों में दौड़ते रहते. नाउ इन समाधि परिणाम व्हाट हैपेंस? There is a change taking place, not only at the conscious level. At conscious level, what will happen? We will acquire an ability of arresting the mind from all other things and focus it on one thing. That is what is happening. But even at the subconscious level, the change will take place. Because when this kind of change is coming, it is not only at the conscious level, because conscious level is very tiny. Conscious mind is like, the visible tip of the iceberg, which has got very limited size, very limited power. The major power comes from the hidden body of the iceberg. That is our subconscious mind. All the sanskaras are there. So unless these sanskaras are worked upon, unless the right kind of sanskaras are created, the sarvarthata, or attending to all aspects of objects, that is not going to change. So in Samadhi Parinama, that is what is happening. changes are taking place not only at the conscious level, ability to concentrate, but also at the level of sanskaras. हम अपने संस्कारों को बदल रहे हैं. कौन से संस्कार बन रहे हैं? एकाग्रता के संस्कार बन रहे हैं. तो इसीलिए उन्होंने कहा कि सर्वार्थता एकाग्रता, ये दो शब्द हैं. तो सर्वार्थता का कम होना, रिडक्शन ऑफ दी सर्वार्थता संस्कारास and increase or manifestation of ekagrata ke sanskar. This is known as Samadhi Parinama, because Chitta is now going from a state of total disturbance to becoming more and more focused. And what is the definition of Samadhi? We have seen. Tadevarth matra nirbhasam swarupa shunyameva samadhi. Mind is so good in concentration in Samadhi that mind forgets even the self which is concentrating. The self-consciousness is also lost, and mind as if becomes one with the object. That is what is Samadhi Parinama. So in Samadhi, all these changes are taking place. So this is the Parinama, and you will find that, mind which is scattered here and there. Now that mind is as if being collected together. All the energies which are scattered, those energies are being collected together and they are being brought into the focus and but one particular point. Now that is what is happening in case of Samadhi Parinama. So as I was preparing for this sutra, I just drew something. I don't know whether it will be properly visible, but then I'm holding it against the camera. So maybe just tell me if you can see it.
Yes, sir, we can see it. Yes, we can see.
So Sarvarthata and Ekagrata. Yeah. So, this is how it is. And the example which I had given earlier is like, an ordinary electric bulb. Ordinary electric bulb it is illuminating. It has got the capacity to illuminate. It has got the capacity to give light, and it will reveal the entire room. When the bulb is lighted, whatever is there in the room, it will be revealed. But what is happening at the bulb? The light is diffused from the bulb. So one may say that I can see everything in the room, but in many corners or some areas of the room, there will be certain parts which will not be illuminated properly. But in case of mind turning, that bulb turning into a searchlight, what happens? So searchlight, it will have very focused kind of beam. It will illuminate a very tiny area, but whatever area it will illuminate, that will be complete. Everything which is there will be seen. So that is how this Samadhi or Sanyama, that is the capacity of the mind. Wherever we direct our mind will be able to know that. That kind of change is being talked about here. So mind which was running here and there, now that mind is really acquiring a new capacity in the form of focus. But another parinam is also there, which is there in the next sutra. And what does it reads? That sutra is again related to third parinama. The third parinama is known as Ekagrata Parinama. So three kinds of parinamas are talked about. Our Chitta undergoes three kinds of changes. Nirodha Parinama, which is the final. Second is Samadhi Parinama. And third is Ekagrata Parinama. So here we saw in Samadhi what is happening. The work is being done at both the levels, at the conscious level as well as the sanskara level. And in Nirodha we saw conscious mind has stopped. All the work is being done at the sanskara level. So as if the old sanskaras are being destroyed. And I gave you the example of an old tape recorder. In tape recorder, The recording is there in the tape, and when we play it, it will just go on playing whatever is there. So when we press this record and play button simultaneously, and there is no sound, then what will happen? The tape will become blank. That is how we used to reuse our tapes, if you all remember, isn't it? So I had given this example last time. Originally, when we bring the tape from the market, it is empty, it is blank. So whatever we desire, whatever music we love, we record on the tape. Now, after some time, we may get bored with that. So we may record another music on that. So by the fact that we were recording another music, the earlier music will get deleted, and the new music which we recorded will be appearing on the tape. And suppose we don't have any fresh tape now and we want to empty this tape, what we'll do? We'll start the play button and record button, and there will be total silence. The tape will become empty. So somewhat that kind of change is taking place in the mind in the Nirodha Parinama. So all that is retained in the form of sanskaras. All that has been retained in the form of impressions, like the tape. These are recorded impressions in the mind. Now, those impressions are as if getting wiped out with the Nirodha Parinama. So when yogi acquires the ability for Nirbija Samadhi, then all the past sanskaras, they go on becoming less and less, and they go on becoming empty. So it is like, a drum is there. Constantly a drum is being filled, and we are on the other side, the tap is there from where we are drawing the water. So on one side we are drawing the water, on the other side the drum is getting filled. Now imagine if we stop filling the drum and we go on emptying, we go on taking the water from there, what will happen? The drum will become empty. Something similar happens to the mind, that no new sanskaras are being fed, and in Nirodha Parinama, in Nirbija Samadhi, all the past sanskaras are as if being eradicated, they are being wiped out. That is the Nirodha Parinama. And in Samadhi Parinama, if we look at it, both things are happening because we are focusing, the mind has become focused on one object, all other vrittis have stopped. All other vrittis have stopped. There is only one object on which mind is focusing. So here the work is being done at both the levels. Conscious mind is totally focused, and what is happening? The sanskaras of the past, sarvarthata, is also getting wiped out, or they are getting less and less. They are reducing. So shayodayo, two words are there in the shloka. Shayo sutra, shayodayo. सर्वा अर्थात एकाग्रतयो क्षयोदय. एक का क्षय होता है और दूसरे का उदय होता है. एक नष्ट होता है, दूसरा उत्पन्न होता है. एक कम होता है और दूसरा बढ़ता है. तो सर्वार्थक के संस्कार कम हो रहे हैं और एकाग्रता के संस्कार बढ़ रहे हैं. इसको कहते हैं समाधि परिणाम. और जो तीसरा परिणाम है एकाग्रता परिणाम, उसको अगर देखेंगे तो एकाग्रता ततः पुनः शांतो दितो तुल्य प्रत्ययो चित्तस्य एकाग्रता परिणाम. Now here they are talking about what is happening at the cognition level, what is happening at the conscious level. संस्कार लेवल का हो गया, संस्कार और कॉग्निशन लेवल का हो गया. नाउ ओनली कॉग्निशन इज बीइंग टॉक्ड अबाउट, ओनली द परसेप्शन विच वी आर हैविंग, दैट इज बीइंग टॉक्ड अबाउट. तो उस वक्त हमारा जो चित्त है, जब भी वो चित्त जब भी फोकस कर रहा होता है, चित्त जब भी एकाग्रता परिणाम में होता है, तो किस प्रकार के परिवर्तन हमारे कॉन्शियस माइंड में होते हैं, माइंड में क्या परिवर्तन होते हैं. तो नाउ नॉर्मली इफ आई आस्क यू जस्ट नाउ for 2 minutes, focus on your tip of the nose. If I tell you focus on your tip of nose, time ज़्यादा नहीं है, नहीं तो we could have done it, but still we can do it. Still we can do it for 2 minutes. Focus on the tip, nothing else. Focus on the tip of the nose. That's all. Okay. So tell me what was happening.
Thoughts were less.
Thoughts were less. You were not focusing on the tip of the nose. You were focusing on the thumb.
Actually, that made it a little easier because I had brought the thumb to the tip of the nose.
Okay.
Sometime I did it on the nose, but it was very not very clear, I mean to say.
So he said thoughts were less. What about others?
Focus went on the breath, sir.
But you were asked to focus on the tip of the nose.
Yeah, but yeah.
There was a little pain while focusing on the tip of the nose. So then, with eyes closed, one could still focus on the tip of the nose. And there were no thoughts.
So it was a simple suggestion to focus on the tip of the nose. What about others? Anyone would like to share?
So automatically my attention went on the breath,
Ah,
even though I was trying to focus on the tip, but it went on the inhale exhale.
okay.
And thoughts were there, distracting.
Okay. Now whatever answers have been given, let us try to understand it. Ajay ne kaha thoughts were less. That means thoughts were there. From Priyam ने कहा, वर्षा ने कहा कि सांस की तरफ ध्यान गया. Why, when the suggestion is clear that we have to focus on the tip of the nose, why our attention went to
No,
breath?
मेरा ध्यान नहीं गया सांस की तरफ.
नहीं.
My muscle pained when I was focusing.
Okay.
So I closed my eyes and focused, and there was no thought.
There was no thought. Okay. So now answering this question, point raised by Varsha, why this focus attention went to the breath? Now, because those sanskaras are there. Normally, I believe you are doing practices where you are focusing on the breath. So now that past sanskara was influencing the present cognition. So this is what happens, that when we are deciding to focus on, now this is initial stages. As we progress further, you'll find that relatively one is able to maintain the same kind of thought pattern, same kind of cognition, same kind of vritti for a long time. That is what is Ekagrata Parinama. So what is Ekagrata Parinama? When the cognition in the present moment remains in the next moment, and in the subsequent moment, and in the subsequent moment, then that is known as Ekagrata Parinama. So our minds are changing every moment. अभी मैंने 2 मिनट का 3-4 मिनट अगर करते थे तो पता नहीं हम लोग कहाँ कहाँ घूम के भी आ जा सकते, कुछ खा पी के भी आते थे, किसी को मिल के भी आ जाते थे. सो माइंड वुड हैव रन हियर एंड देयर, बहुत कुछ करके आता था माइंड. अभी तो 2 ही मिनट बोला तो 2 मिनट में तो बहुत कुछ, लेकिन 3-4 मिनट में तो आप पता नहीं माइंड कहाँ कहाँ. तो एवरी मोमेंट द कंटेंट ऑफ द माइंड, whatever right now at this moment, whatever is the content of the mind, are we able to maintain that same content next moment? Are we able to maintain that same content third moment, fourth moment, fifth moment, every subsequent moment? Are we able to maintain that kind of content? So when we were discussing about difference between dharana, dhyan and samadhi, I had given you one example of which is given in a book by Dr. Taimini, I.K. Taimini. I had given that example that suppose if we are focusing, there are alphabets A, B, C, D up to Z, and we are asked to focus on the alphabet A only. So what happens in dharana? When we are focusing on the A, sometimes 2-3 moments it will be A, then third moment it will be B, fourth moment it will be Z, sixth moment it will be Y, eighth moment it will be H, and some other moment it will be N, and then again we will come back to A. So this is the state of mind in dharana. Mind keeps on running here and there. We are not able to focus on one thing. ध्यान में क्या होता है कि we are relatively more stable. ए रहेगा, ए रहेगा, ए रहेगा, ए रहेगा, ए रहेगा, 5 मोमेंट तक ए रहेगा, छठी मोमेंट पे बी हो जाएगा. 7th moment it will be C, 8th moment it will be Z, and 9th moment it will be H, 10th moment it will be N. So it will keep on shifting, and then again it will come back to A, and then for relatively maybe 7-8 seconds it will remain on the A. Then when relatively a stable state of mind is attained, that is known as dhyana. And in samadhi, what happens? If mind has decided to focus on A, every moment of cognition will be of A, nothing else. There will be no B, C, D, E. Only the A will remain in the focus. Now that is what is Ekagrata Parinama. At cognitive level, what is happening? Whatever is the content of awareness at this moment, I have decided to retain that. So that's why you'll find, in Tratak, when this will become clearer from one example of Tratak. Often we are doing Tratak, we are focusing on the flame of the candle or a lamp. When you are lighting a lamp and we are focusing on the flame of the lamp, then what happens? That flame is there in our perception. That perception has to go on continuously. Moment after moment, that flame is seen. It's a very good training. Tratak is a very good training in cognition. So and it's a good training for cognition. It's a good training for concentration. All Tratak practices are very good for improving our concentration and our ability to focus our minds. तो वो फ्लेम पे जब ध्यान दे रहे हैं तो अभी फ्लेम है, फिर फ्लेम है, फ्लेम है. If some thoughts comes in, then eyes are there on the flame, but their eyes are not seeing. The perception is not there. If we bring the mind back again to the flame, then again the cognition starts. So now in Ekagrata Parinama, what is happening? The cognition is of similar nature in subsequent moments as it was in the previous moments. That is the characteristics of Ekagrata Parinama. So you see, the entire range of our Chitta, our mind has been as if covered by Patanjali. He says how the change will begin. The change will begin with Ekagrata Parinama. It is simpler. But Samadhi Parinama is complex. It will come later. Although it's stated before. Nirodha Parinama will come still further, still later. Although it has been stated at the first place by Patanjali. So sequence has been turned differently, but then we have to understand when we are practicing yoga, how changes are taking place in mind. Our ability to retain onto one particular thought, one particular cognition, one particular perception, one particular vritti, it increases. So mind is acquiring a new capacity for good concentration. When we are relatively successful in holding on to one object in our cognition for a longer time, then that can be called as Ekagrata Parinama. So mind is moving from disturbed state of mind to a stable state, concentrated state of mind. And it can go on continuously till it converts itself into Samadhi Parinama. Then what happens? In cognition, there is only one thing. Now there is no change taking place. Only one thing is there in the cognition. But now another change has also started taking place. What is that other change? In our subconscious mind also changes are taking place. In Samskara level also changes are taking place. So work is being done at both the levels, the cognition level as well as the subconscious level in Samadhi Parinama. And when this is continued for a very long time, now all that is Sabija Samadhi. As long as mind is cognizing something, there is some object for support. As long as mind is focused, it could be subtle object, it could be gross object, anything, because we see that in Sampragnata Samadhi has got 4 categories. Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda and Asmita. Asmita is the subtlest. So one may focus on the self. One may be continuously maintaining awareness of the self. So this self-awareness becomes so profound and so powerful that one is not alive to anything else, but only he is knowing this self. That's all. And that is the highest state of Sampragnata. So all that in Samadhi Parinama, it is all about Sampragnata. It is all related to, it is all Sabija Samadhi. All that, wherever the object is there, it is Sabija Samadhi. It will fall under the realm of Sampragnata. So even if the highest kind of knowledge, highest kind of prajna is being gathered, highest kind of wisdom is being developed, that will be still under the Sampragnata level. And mind is still there. And if the mind is still there, potential danger is still there. So if Patanjali, with supreme renunciation, we acquire good power, we acquire good understanding, we acquire good capacity, we acquire good knowledge. But then what is the use of that knowledge? because we are not interested in using that. Normally, we have capacities in life, so we want to use it to our advantage. Sometimes we may use it against other people. But most of the time, any advantage we have, see, that is one important thing you have to understand. Any advantage we have over others, we want to cash it. We want to use it. Use it for our benefit and use it over others. Denying it to others and using for one's own self. That is how we are functioning. That is the selfish interest most of the people have, and all of us are having subject to that. So all that is changing. That now we have the power, but at the same time we have developed a little wisdom. Prajna aa gayi, wisdom aa gayi. I have the advantage, but I know if I take advantage, what will happen? Tomorrow I will lose. I'll be put into disadvantageous position. So I don't want to use that power of advantage, and I want to give it up. So imagine a yogi in very great power, all understanding, all knowledge, but still he is not interested because he says, if I use it, there's a potential damage, there's a potential threat. So I'm not interested in that. I want to leave it. So what is the principal technique there? Giving up. Vairagya. Vairagya. So ओशो का एक उर्दू शेर याद आया. आचार्य रजनीश ने एक बहुत खूबसूरत शेर ऐसे ही कोई बात करते करते बोला था, है हुसूल आरजू का राज तर्क आरजू, है हुसूल आरजू का राज तर्क आरजू, मैंने दुनिया छोड़ दी तो मिल गई दुनिया मुझे. दुनिया को छोड़ देना है, जब छोड़ेंगे तभी मिलेगा, पकड़ने जाएंगे तो नहीं मिलेगा. सी, दिस इज द सीक्रेट. So if we are not interested, things will automatically come. अस्तेय प्रतिष्ठायाम सर्वरत्नोपस्थानम. जिस व्यक्ति में अस्तेय है उसके पास सब चीजें अपने आप चल के आती हैं. That is the secret. So now yogi knows the danger. Yogi knows that there is a possibility of falling down. Yogi knows that he can go back to the old state where he was facing a lot of trouble. So he's not interested in that. He wants to give it up. And when he's trying to give that up, he goes into Nirbija Samadhi. The cognition also as if stops. So this is the range of all the three parinamas, and every sadhak of yoga, everybody who's practicing yoga, if his prescribed method is being applied by him, that is Upaya Pratyay, mentioned in chapter 1, Sutra 20. If he's going through this Ashtanga Yoga or Kriya Yoga or Abhyas Vairagya or Shraddha Virya, he cannot transgress this. He will develop in understanding. He will grow in understanding. He will grow in wisdom. And he will go on dropping lesser things. He will go on dropping those things which are creating problems. So certain thought patterns are there. We know that they are problem creator. They are creating difficulty in our life. Why harbor those thoughts? We have to give them up. Initially, we may not have the ability to give them up. But as we are growing in strength, as we are going in wisdom, as we are going in knowledge, we know how to drop them. जब कोई चीज हमको तब तकलीफ देने वाली है तो वो करने का ही क्यों? योगी ऐसा बोलेगा करना ही क्यों है, छोड़ दो. तो ये छोड़ने की जो कला है, that ultimately helps. So अभी संप्रज्ञात में पूरा अभ्यास वैराग्य साथ में चलता है. संप्रज्ञात समाधि तक तो अभ्यास और वैराग्य दोनों साथ में चलते हैं, लेकिन जब असंप्रज्ञात समाधि की बात आती है, निर्वीत समाधि की बात आती है, वहां पे केवल वैराग्य काम करता है. क्योंकि उसके बाद एफर्ट्स तो है नहीं, उसके बाद तो सिर्फ छोड़ना है. एक बार सब मिल गया तो उसके बाद छोड़ने की बात आ जाती है. तो दिस इज a little technical sutra, but I try to cover all the three parinamas together so that we can understand what is happening at the chitta level. In first stage, the work is being done at the conscious level. Why conscious level? Because all that we are today is a result of some kind of cognitions we had earlier, and we have gathered sanskaras of those cognitions. Those are collected in the form of sanskaras, and that is what our personality is. If we face a challenge and we are afraid, it is a learned behavior. It is not natural behavior. It's not natural behavior. Whatever is our reaction, we have learned it. So if we have learned it, from where we have learned it? We have learned it from the conscious mind. So that's why the work has to be done on the conscious mind. Also, some way has to be there where the work can be done on these sanskaras. So the best way to work on the sanskaras is create right sanskaras. अक्लिष्ट वृत्तियों के द्वारा क्लिष्ट वृत्तियों के संस्कारों को कम करो, उसको वीक करते जाओ. This is the method. And then when you are gained in wisdom, why you are interested in lesser things? A person who has got all the best things available, why he will go back to the lesser things? He will definitely go for the higher things. तो संप्रज्ञात समाधि में जो विजडम आती है उसमें योगी को मालूम पड़ता है, अरे देयर इज बियॉन्ड दिस माइंड देयर इज गॉड, बियॉन्ड दिस माइंड देयर इज प्योर कॉन्शियसनेस, बियॉन्ड दिस माइंड इज द अल्टीमेट रियलिटी. So why I should be getting caught into the smaller things and the unreal things? Let me go to the real thing. And how we can go there? If you want to climb to a mountain, if you want to go to the mountain at 13,000 feet and we are at 12,000 feet, we'll have to leave that 12,000 behind. Then only we can go to the 13,000. We cannot go from 12 to 12 directly. We cannot. We'll have to drop it. Both cannot be together. So that's why, the entire range of 3 parinamas in Chitta is being talked about in Sutra 9, 10, 11 and 12. And 13th Sutra will be dealing with the changes in the external world. हम लोग कैसे बाहर के चेंजेस को देखते हैं, उनको में रियलिटी क्या है, हाउ दे टेक प्लेस, दैट विल बी कमिंग लेटर. So now time is over, but if there are questions.
Sir, how do we, आपने एकाग्रता परिणाम का बोला, तो उसमें how do we come to, what are the practices that we can do to make it more practical for us? How do we make our mind more concentrated? Because though I am meditating, but still there are a lot of thoughts, lot of distractions that keep coming, and how do you progress basically, in spite of doing meditation?
Yeah, very simple criteria would be that, if the normal state of mind is there, now you are sitting 10 minutes watching TV, okay, or you are just sitting here looking here and there, you are reading something, you are doing something, 10 minutes are over. After 10 minutes, what changes will take place in the mind? Normally no changes. Mind will be in same state. टीवी देख रहे हैं तो 10 मिनट के बाद में भी माइंड वैसा ही रहने वाला है जो 10 मिनट पहले था. But then you have selected that for 10 minutes you are going to focus on, since you said your mind went to breathing, so you are focusing on the breath. You are maintaining awareness that now I am breathing, now breathing in, now I am breathing out, now I am breathing in, now I am breathing out. In that, one more intense thing may come, that I am inhaling now. Inhalation is complete. Now I am exhaling. Exhalation is complete. Now I am inhaling. So if you are able to do this for 10 minutes without any break, after 10 minutes, what kind of change you will feel in your body and mind? क्या होगा? क्या लगेगा? किया है ना, सबने किया है. आप बताइए, क्या अगर 10 मिनट आप सक्सेसफुली कंसंट्रेशन कर लेते हैं तो क्या होता है? आपको क्या अनुभव आता है?
So there's definitely a more blankness in the mind.
Yeah.
More spaciousness that I feel. But उसमें भी thoughts आते ही हैं. मतलब
Thoughts रहने दो. I'm talking about 10 minutes of normal activity and I'm on 10 minutes of concentration. You say you are doing meditation, so I took this example.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes of meditation, what do you feel? And 10 minutes of general activity, what do you feel? What is the difference between them?
General activity, you feel more disturbed and heaviness. अगर TV देख रहे हैं तो images आते हैं.
So that is where the answer is there to your question. What should we do? So every time we are succeeding in good concentration, every time we are able to focus our mind, we are able to curb our tendencies to run here and there and make the mind more steady. What is happening? सत्व बढ़ जाता है, अच्छा लगता है. After 10 minutes of meditation, you feel good. You feel more at peace with yourself. When we feel at peace with ourselves, our bodies are a little calm. Our bodies are a little more energetic. If the body is energetic, mind is calm, that is a sure indication that right direction has been attained. We are moving in the right direction. Now what needs to be done? We have to deepen it. So if you are doing this for once a day and you are feeling peace of mind for 5 minutes, Dr. Jayadev would say, repeat it. Who's stopping you? Repeat it 5 times in a day. So instead of feeling only good for 5 minutes, you can feel good for 25 minutes. Now imagine if 25 minutes of peace is experienced every day, it multiplies. And over a period of 365 days, if you are doing that, what will happen to the mind?
Very true.
This is the change of Ekagrata Parinama.
Actually, yes. So we are more, at least I am, we do it not so often, इतना दिन में एक बार या maybe 2 दिन में एक बार ऐसे होता है.
No, because there are various factors for that.
Yeah.
Maybe lack of clarity, maybe willingness to work on, maybe there's no urgency, maybe we don't value it much. So several factors are there. We'll not go into that, but then each one has to really ask something which is some good thing which is easily available to us, why we are not giving it to ourselves again and again. नॉर्मली जब हैबिट रहती है, चाय की आदत रहती है, तो हम दिन में 4-4 कप पीते हैं, 5-5 कप पीते हैं, बिकॉज वी फील गुड. तो ये क्यों नहीं? When a cigarette smoker is there, he will smoke 10 cigarettes in a day because that cigarette gives him a kick. तो ये किक का क्यों नहीं हम लोग रिपीट करते हैं? इसका क्यों नहीं आदत लगाते? ये तो अपने हाथ की बात है ना.
Yes.
See, nobody can tell us to do this. We have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to be motivated. We have to be, clear enough what we want. What we want. If that's why they say if we value peace, then everything else doesn't matter. We should be able to give it up. Anything which is causing unhappiness, anything which is causing this disturbing our peace of mind, it should be shunned. If it is possible, it can be shunned. And many things are within our reach. It is possible to shun many things which are causing a lot of disturbance to our mind. We can give them up, but we continue with them out of habit, out of sanskaras. So the another ये conscious mind पे जब भी करेंगे तभी वो subconscious संस्कार बनेंगे, and gradually a time will come when nothing matters. See, it's very scientifically, stated by Patanjali that this is how the mind. It's a very beautiful psychology. Yoga psychology is really beautiful. It is explaining how changes are taking place and how we can bring about these changes as a result of yoga practice. ठीक है? We leave it here.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know more about Samprajñata Samadhi. Can you give an example in terms of how do you, what is Samprajñata Samadhi? You mentioned it comes under-
Samprajñat Samadhi is made up of 2 words, Sam, Prajna. So Prajna is the highest wisdom or highest knowledge we can attain about a thing. So normally, if we consider ourselves in the present situation, we know, but we do not know enough. We cannot say for sure that I know this thing completely. Can we claim that I know this thing completely? Because our knowledge is very scattered. So yoga says, or Samprajñat Samadhi is a process where we are purifying the mind. We are bringing more sattva in the mind so that mind can understand things in a better way. Abhi jaise, see, in the beginning of the class, I stated one simple thing, that the only constant in the world is change, right? Now this is an information. We all those who are here, they all know that world is changing. But have you ever made use of this information, made use of this common knowledge that world is changing? How do we make use of this knowledge? When something bad happens and we say that, okay, world is changing. This has changed and this has happened. This will also change. When this happens, then we have acquired prajna. And when this prajna goes on increasing, then that will become some prajna. Then it will be a very stable. It will always come to our rescue. It will always help us. So through Sampragnata, we are trying to acquire right kind of knowledge about ourselves, our minds, and our external world. So it begins at the gross level, Vitarka level, then it goes to Vichara and subtle level, then it goes to Ananda level, where we are in a very, very joyful, harmonious, tranquil state of continuously, without any reason. Nothing has to happen. Person automatically is in a joyful state. Have you seen any such person? Have you seen? Yeah, there are people who are of that kind. So they are enjoying nothing. They didn't have, they don't have money, they don't have any power, they don't have anything, but they are joyous. So yeah, this is another level of understanding, another level of Sampragnat Samadhi. That is Ananda. And then there are people who are constantly in self-awareness. See, this self-awareness is the highest, mindfulness. Buddha talked about mindfulness. Everything which is happening, Buddha was mindful of that. So continuous, smriti sadhana jisko bolte hain. We had discussed it earlier. Continuously we are maintaining that self-awareness. That is the ultimate stage of Sampragnat. So this way it is a progressive development.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you everyone. Nice to